Hello, it's Lynn Blackwell, your energy coach. Today I have a really special treat for everybody. Sylvia Tsui from Hong Kong. She collaborated on a book with Les Brown, and it's called The Greatness in You. And she's got some really great tips. And so stay tuned for that. Everybody, I'm Lynn Blackwell, your energy coach, and I have with me today Sylvia Tsui. Is that the right pronunciation?
Yes.
And she's joining us from Hong Kong, and she has a new book out that she's collaborated with Les Brown, and it's The Greatness in You. And if you want to show, yeah, that's the book. And I got the book and I was reading it, and I just wanted to just read the first couple of sentences of Sylvia's chapter because it was riveting. It was 6 a.m. on Tuesday morning. I woke up in the hospital bed with tubes in my veins. My skin was falling apart. My face was swollen. My scalp was peeling, and it was filled with blood and yellow liquid. And that's just how it started. So it's riveting. I really want to introduce Sylvia. So, hello, Sylvia.
Thank you, Lynn, for the great introduction. It feels like the experience in the hospital is really vivid now that we talk about it more. But thank you so much, Lynn, for inviting me to your channel. I know you're an amazing coach, and we met in our course together. But the book is really, I just have one chapter in the book, and there are like 30 more amazing people in the same book. We want to bring the greatness in you. So when I think about that topic, I thought of my own experience of being in the hospital, that like about a few years ago, 3 to 4 years ago, where I really had no idea. I was in the hospital for 10 days, and it was high fever. When I got in, it was like rashes all over, and I had high fever. So they thought that was before COVID, right? And they didn't know what I was, but they still isolate me because they couldn't figure out whether it's contagious or not. And after a few days, they still couldn't figure out what it is, but it got worse. Like they give me medicine to calm down my fever, but it started, my whole skin started swollen, and the skin was falling down, like it's
all
so
of a
easy
sudden,
to scratch it. Yeah.
He's going to the hospital and quarantined.
Yeah. And nobody can visit me. I was all by myself. And at one point, my energy was so low that I couldn't even pull up myself to eat anything. But basically, like all over my body, skins were falling down, hairs falling down. So it was a bad experience. But so the book started with that, but it jumps to before my hospitalization, right? And my business was really bad at that time. I started an organic shop online, but it was losing money, and I was closing it down. My family life was not happy. Had arguments with my husband, and children were fighting all the time, and just everything doesn't go well. Like I feel really depressed or very unhappy about my life. And then this happened.
In the hospital.
So yeah.
From bad to worse.
Yes.
The book is called The Greatness in You, but you went from bad to worse first.
But that is a good thing now that I think of it. So during the 10 days, I actually did think a lot about like why I was in that situation. And actually I was blessed to, like at the point where I thought, I could have died from now, right? Because the situation was pretty bad. And just at that point, I was in a dream state where I see a golden gate, like a door, and like there's some golden energy, and like everything just seems so, peaceful. And I was so curious about what it is. And then it didn't go further. It's unlike the other people where they go to see God or anything, but that's all I see. And then I feel the golden energy like around me. And then from then on, like I improved, right? Everything just started to get better, and my fevers just get better. And
Kind of a miracle.
yeah.
And did they ever know what was the physical problem, or it just started to clear up after the golden?
So they think it's a reaction. It's like a allergy to medication or something. But I wasn't really taking medication. I was taking some because some elderberry drink or something like that, but nothing out of
no reason, and all of a sudden the golden door appears, and then you get gradually better.
Yeah. And but I do understand how I got to that point. It wasn't really the one thing that caused me, but it was the whole, like I was in a mental state of really, spiraling down and not going along with the law of the universe, which I understand now because
there's so many people, walking around now that are in that spiraling down phase. And, I meet with them too. So what did you do? What steps did you take, and what did you do to turn it all around? Because now you're thriving, and obviously you got out of the hospital, you lived here, you look
good. So I seek to do energy healing work. I study and I got my certified, and I also study with Marie Diamond, which she's energy. And
certified Marie Diamond life coaches, and down feng shui.
So I realized our environment do have a lot of effect on us, and that's the first thing I changed, is like studying feng shui and adjusting my environment, throwing a lot of stuff out, because I had a lot of stuff in my, because I was selling stuff online, so I have a lot of stock.
So your warehouse was in your house.
Yeah. So I didn't know that would really affect how I am, and everything just like accumulates, right? So that's the first thing I did. But I also that's just lead me to the next thing, which is like I learned how to clear my energy, and I also learned like how to think properly, and like I think the mindset and how to heal comes a lot from switching the way I see things. And I think so that's the main points I wanted to bring out. I mean, feng shui and energy clearing are very good tools, but I think the main thing is really switching the way you think about your situation.
I mean, of course, it supports you to have an environment that's feng shui, that's Tao's, that's decluttered. But really, you also have to manage your own energy field.
Definitely.
So you did it all. You said, that's it. I got to do everything. And you've got a new business too, because you're an energy manifestation coach, and you do life and business coaching, and you do the feng shui and the dowsing as well. And so you really just kind of push that reset button and rebooted your life after that.
Right. Yeah. I thought that's why I say this is the best thing that happened to me. And that's why I started my my chapter with the hospital, because I think that's the turning point. It's like it pushed me to awakening to the truth of life. Right.
Right. Yeah. And so I don't know if people know who Les Brown is. Do you want to just let everybody know who Les Brown is if they're not familiar with him?
Well, Les Brown is one of the top 5 motivational speakers in the whole world. So
right. Maybe show his book again, because he's got his picture on his book. A lot of people may.
If you search on him on YouTube, Google, you will see millions of views of him. He's a great motivational speaker.
I love Les Brown. So he chose you about 30 other people, and then you each have your chapters. And I did get the book on Kindle, and when I read your chapter, it was just immediately grabs you, and because that was just the start. It got gradually worse in the hospital. Oh, okay.
Right.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
So how
So
can the viewers get your book?
you can get it from Amazon, Barnes and Noble.
Okay, we'll put a link to the book as well. And what if viewers want to contact you to, work with you with your business, your life coaching, feng shui, whatever? And even though you're in Hong Kong, you are international, right?
Yes, I am. And most of my clients are international. So with
Okay.
Zoom nowadays, it makes it so much easier.
So we're going to
So
put your
yeah,
website down, but why don't you tell people what it is as well?
you can go to my website at unlimitedmanifestation.com. So I have a podcast there, and you can also listen to it. And I also have blogs there. You can read it. And then you can send me an email at support@unlimitedmanifestation.com, where you can
Unlimited.
ask me questions.
So before we leave, what are the top 3 tips that viewers can do to manage their thoughts? Because you said that was the biggest change you made was in your own thinking and how you viewed things. So why don't you give the viewers 3 top tips?
So the first one is be grateful, really. Gratitude it's actually on my top list also.
So instead of complaining or looking at what you don't have or focusing on stuff you want, just
right, because
grateful for what you have.
Everything, because I've been studying the Buddha and as well as the Bible as well, because I study a lot of traditional literatures, and they all have, talk about being grateful, right? And that's the first thing. And especially Buddha talks about everything is neutral, right? It's called emptiness, where everything itself does not have its own preference or good or bad, but it's the viewer, it's the observer who project whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. So by being grateful and just focusing on the good thing, we are actually attracting more of it. But I know it's not easy, so we need to practice like a lot
in the beginning, which is why it's good to have a coach. Because when I started doing this and I was at home watching YouTube or taking a class online, I was learning and changing, but not as quickly as when we got into a program and we started studying and learning and practicing together. That's when it really.
Yes. Yeah, a coach can really see something that you can't see, especially when in the beginning, before my illness, I was a good person. And so I wasn't someone who's like not very negative either. So I always think, because we are so comfortable with our own thinking, I thought I wasn't focusing on the negative, but I wasn't purposely focusing on the good either. And just that awareness of how you focus is good. If someone can point to you that, hey, this is not the right way to think, or you can try this way, that it's much easier. But if I have a coach before my hospitalization, I think I wouldn't get into that situation. But nowadays it's so hard to find some good coach, especially in my area. I didn't know who was available, and I have been searching and didn't get the answer. But now I know a lot of people like yourself, a good coach. So
one tip is gratitude. The second tip is to watch what you're focusing on. And even if you don't think you're negative, you might also not be positive. So you really want to focus on positive. And what's the third tip?
It's always like looking for growth, right? As everything in the nature is growing towards the sun, and there's a tendency to grow. And I think it's called the law of creation or disintegration. If you don't create, like, changes are inevitable. Everything change, even the mountain, it looks like so solid. or the building, if you don't maintain it, it will deteriorate. We can't see it with our eyes, but after a time, everything does change and deteriorate. If we don't maintain it, if we don't purposely get better, if we don't change by ourselves,
So
the
I
force.
tell people, like, if you just stay where you are, you're actually going
Yeah,
backward, because
you
everything's
are.
changing, and you want to stay the same, and that's not how the universe works.
Yeah, so always seek growth and learn everything you're interested in and become
And
like
also,
curious.
what you did, 5 years ago that was successful may not be the success, path now. So like I
That's
noticed
correct.
a lot of people in the past, they were like, this is how I used to make money. It was really good. My marriage used to be good. And then now it
Yeah,
changed, and they still want to go back to that old pattern. But it
right.
doesn't work anymore. It worked back then, but not now. So I love those
Yes.
tips. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sylvia's my friend and colleague, and I just adore her. We'll put your book and the link and also how to contact you. But I really encourage anybody that's looking for really personal growth. It could be business, it could be life, relationships. And I know that in addition to the coaching, getting some feng shui and dowsing done as well really kind of super boosts the
Yeah.
really
They're still very powerful. The feng shui and dowsing are very, very helpful in my healing process. Yes.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for watching, and thank you, Sylvia. And we'll sign off for now, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Lynn. Bye.